Hi everybody, Tom Womowski, injury attorney. Today we are talking about medical payments coverage. This is an optional coverage on your auto insurance policy, but there are several benefits to this coverage and it's relatively inexpensive coverage to purchase. So what is medical payments coverage? First of all, unlike some of the other coverages on your insurance policy, this is what is called a no-fault coverage. Here's what that means. If you're in a car crash, it doesn't matter if you're at fault, the other driver is at fault, or nobody can decide who's at fault. The coverage still applies to you. Medical payments coverage is intended to cover those medical bills that you receive related to the crash. The amount of medical payments coverage can vary widely. I've seen medical payments coverage as low as $500. I've also seen it as high as $100,000, so it can potentially cover a significant amount of medical bills. Medical payments coverage is typically one of the easiest benefits to obtain once you file a claim. You don't need to worry about the investigation into who's at fault. Usually the insurance company simply receives the medical records and bills and issues the check. Nonetheless, I do recommend that you let an attorney handle your medical payments claim. Here's why. Many times we are able to convince medical providers to take a discount on the overall bill. If we are not involved in the process, then typically we'll see the insurance company issue payment directly to the medical provider for the full amount of the bill. That doesn't benefit you. When I'm discussing with people why medical payments coverage is important, I get several common objections. One objection is, well, shouldn't the other driver's insurance company be paying for my medical bills? Yes, they should and they will. That assumes, however, that everybody's in agreement that the other driver is at fault. But even if that happens, typically that claims process is a longer process. There needs to be liability determinations and damage determinations and negotiation back and forth. That process can drag out for months or even years. The nice advantage of medical payments coverage is that the checks will be issued in almost every circumstance right away. And that becomes very important because medical providers, they want to get paid. And there is no legal requirement that they hold off on their billing or even collections efforts until after your claim is complete or your claim is settled. So sometimes I'll have clients that as their claim goes on and on over months or even years, they continually receive bills from the medical providers. They receive collection notices from collection agencies. Sometimes they are sent to collections and their credit is dinged. And while I do everything I can to try to convince those medical providers or collection agencies to delay their recovery efforts until after the claim is settled, legally, there's nothing I can do. So if you have the medical payments coverage, you'll receive money for the medical bills, you can pay those right away, and you won't have to worry about outstanding medical bills or collection efforts. The other common objection that I hear has to do with health insurance. Now, I have many clients who have very good health insurance, or they have Medicare or Medicaid or TRICARE, the military health insurance benefits. And they're wondering if it's beneficial for them to have medical payments coverage since nearly everything will be paid by health insurance anyway. Yes, it is still beneficial in those situations for two reasons. One, you may have copays or deductibles that you still have to deal with, even with the best health insurance. So you want to make sure that that can be paid. The second reason is, depending on how the policy is written, you may be entitled to the full amount of the medical bill before health insurance payments. Now, in the primary states where I practice, Missouri and Illinois, that's how it is. You're entitled to the full amount of that under almost every insurance policy. Now, there's a couple insurance companies that write what's called excess medical payments coverage, which means it only applies to the amount that's left over after health insurance payments and write-offs and adjustments. So that may be something you will want to ask your insurance agent, but generally you're entitled to receive the full amount of the medical bill, even if it's all or mostly all paid for by health insurance. Finally, an objection that I will get from clients is that they do not want me to submit a medical payments coverage claim on their behalf because they are worried about raising their own insurance rates. And I always tell them the same thing, which is medical payments coverage is an optional coverage. It's not required that you buy that. So if you are paying for the medical payments coverage, you might as well reap the benefits of that. And if you never want to submit a claim for medical payments coverage, then my recommendation to my clients is that they immediately call their insurance agent and drop that coverage because they're paying for something that they won't receive a benefit of. Hopefully this video helps you to understand a little bit more about medical payments coverage and its benefits. If you have any questions, my contact info is in the description.